Ed Brown is the original Petco, Mr. Petco man. So Ed Brown, the Mr. Petco corporatist. He's a Petco corporatist since 2013. Ed Brown loves how impotent, how important Petco makes him feel. So important. Ed Brown is Mr. Methane and Landfills. Ed Brown is Mr. Status Quo. Ed Brown is the Sierra Club principal. He's Mr. Sierra Club principal of methane and landfills forever and ever. That's their energy policy for Pueblo City. The Sierra Club wants more methane and landfills, and Ed Brown agrees with them. Ed Brown is Mr. Razzle Dazzle. Ed Brown is a charismatic Calvin Coolidge. Hey, Ed Brown, Ben Carson wants his personality back. Ed Brown is Mr. Dynamism, Mr. Bold New Ideas. You know what NETI's for? He's for Wi-Fi, municipal Wi-Fi and trash incinerators. But I don't know if he's got the political will. He just said yes to those ideas. Is he going to get them? Is he going to push for these things? Probably not, right? He only promised one thing, the recycling center. Does he push for any ideas? He just wants to be liked. He just wants to do what Steve Noraki tells him to do. He just wants Steve Noraki to be proud of him. The political will to get us municipal Wi-Fi and waste-to-energy programs. Does Ed Brown have the political will to get us a Grand Junction, a $3 million factory like they got in Grand Junction? Their waste-to-energy program is turning feces into electricity. And in Portland, they're using plasma gasification. Is Ed Brown going to do that? A promise Ed Brown had promised his Sierra Club was that he was going to get Pueblo City a paper and cardboard recycling center. A paper and cardboard. Not just paper. No, not Ed Brown. His ambition goes to cardboard too, from paper to cardboard. That's the single promise that Ed Brown had promised to the Sierra Club that won the Sierra Club over. But just a cardboard and paper recycling plant. Not metals, nor aluminum, nor a plastics recycling center. Not a plastics recycling plant. We're not recycling aluminum or metals or none of that. Just paper and cardboard. So, it's not just a paper recycling plant. It's a paper and cardboard recycling plant. Genius. Ed Brown is genius. How ambitious, how progressive, how democratic, how forward-thinking. God, he is looking many years into the future. He's like, you know what, we probably need to recycle, our paper and our cardboard. And do we not have a paper and cardboard recycling center yet? Why don't we have a paper and, what the fuck? We don't even have a paper and cardboard recycling center yet? I mean, why would he be calling for one if we already have one? But apparently Ed Brown is the spiritual economist, the chief philosopher of Pueblo City. Ed Brown, just like oily and coal dust Bobby Schilling. Bobby Schilling and Nettie Brown. Bobby Schilling and Nettie Brown is Pueblo City. When Pueblo City's voters looks at Ed Brown and Bob Schilling, they see themselves. And why wouldn't they? This is a very right-wing conservative town. Very, very right-wing conservative town. In 2000 to 2006, the Republican tyrant Joyce Bales brainwashed Pueblo City into obeying tyrannical republicanism for the first 6 years in the new millennium. She's brainwashing all Pueblo City's kids into being tyrannical, to obeying tyrannical republicanism. When Obama came to Pueblo City in 2008, the Pueblo City Council fired David Galley, the city manager, because he, I guess, tried to get him or called for or something. He was somehow affiliated, which is amazing. He brought Barack Obama when he was a candidate right before becoming a president, which would have given us a lot of political power if we would have kept David Galley. But instead, we fired David Galley because he brought Barack Obama. Does that sound liberal or progressive to you? Oh, you brought Barack Obama into town, you get fired. Donald Trump coming to town 2 years ago. Nobody got fired over that. This is a Republican right-wing town. They voted for Donald Trump. That's probably the best, most obvious example right there. They voted for Donald Trump. Pueblo City, Pueblo loves Donald Trump. Pueblo City voted for Donald Trump. Pueblo had a tyrannical Republican from Tennessee, a tyrant in their school system, training their kids from 2000 to 2006. Obama came to Pueblo City in 2008. David Galley, the city manager, the main head honcho, the man, with all the power. He got fired. Some people say he got fired because city council was moneyed interest. They were a bunch of wealthy people who were sitting on the city council. So if that's the reason he got fired, because a bunch of rich people didn't want him in there, well, that's a conservative position too. That's republicanism too. The Cinco de Mayo parade was shut down a few years ago. There's only 2% black people here. Lake Avenue shut the homeless shelter down. There's no homeless shelter to speak of whatsoever in Pueblo City. How progressive is this town? Oh, yeah, so progressive. So very, very progressive. Bullshit. It's a bunch of selfish, uncaring, unchristian society. It's Republicans. Republicanism. That's why we got homeless people here. And corporatist Democrats. There's no Democrats. There's no progressive Democrats here. There's no liberal, progressive, socialist, communist. There's nobody even close to being on the left around here. Nobody. There's some center of left Democrats, and there's some progressive Republicans, but progressive Democrats or just pure progressives, progressive Greens, progressive independents. There's no progressives to speak of. There's some conservative progressives, but there's no liberal progressives. And then that's something. We got a couple progressive Republicans, but we have no progressive Democrats. That's embarrassing. To move forward, to go forward, we have no progressives in government, not in city or the county, not in the school board, not anywhere. No progressives, zero. There are zero progressives, no Josh Brunses in any of these positions. None of these positions. The local government, the local establishment has zero progressives. This is a progressive town? Yeah, bullshit, spare me. I see how you treat your homeless. I see how you treat each other. You're fascist. You believe in fascism, but you do have a limit, right, when it comes to the jail. But maybe because I was a liberal, right? Garrison Ortiz wanted that. He was for marijuana. No, we can't let that liberal youngster get his way. In 2016, Pueblo voted for Donald Trump. Last year, it nearly voted to ban marijuana here, 55 to 45, within, just a 10-point split. Two ballot measures was, they were whitewashed. Not whitewashed, they were kicked ass. But they dominated, right? So marijuana stayed legal because of two ballot measures, but one ballot measure was really close. And then all the tax increases were smashed. So don't raise taxes around here. And there's a huge anti-marijuana constituency still trying, these reactionaries still trying to get something, right? They lost the marijuana vote, so they're fucking pissed off. So you got a huge constituency who hates the marijuana stuff. They all voted for Donald Trump. There's no progressives in local government anywhere. There's no homeless shelters in Pueblo City. The Cinco de Mayo parade was shut down a few years ago. When Obama came to Pueblo City, the city manager got fired. David Galley got fired. And then in the beginning of the millennium, all of our children were being taught to obey tyrannical republicanism. And where is Joyce Bales today? Not here, not in Pueblo City. She took our damn money and ran, just like the Sperry Corporation, just like Express Scripts. They take our millions of dollars and they fucking leave. And we keep on wanting these rich corporations that come from out of town to take care of us, to save us all. Big Daddy Strange going to save us all. So Bob's been in there for 10 years. Bob Schilling's going to be in there for another 4 years. Ned Brown, he's super popular, super popular. In 2013, he won by 1,200 votes or so, by 1188. So 12 votes from 1,200, so about 1,200 votes for District 3. Ed Brown ran against Mark Aliff. Mark Aliff, who beat everybody else. Out of all the 7, he was number 2, so he broke through. Mark Aliff is a strong candidate this year. He would have been a strong candidate 4 years ago. Ed Brown is a stronger candidate than Mark Aliff. There's talk about Mark Aliff and Dennis Flores being the mayoral candidates, because the mayor's race is going to be identical to the at-large race. A clusterfuck, a bunch of fucking people getting in, and then some 1 or 2 individuals being able to break through and to shine through. So Mark Aliff was a strong candidate, but Ed Brown kind of smashed him in some respects, 57 to 43, 14 points. It's not a 60-40 split. 1,200 votes is manageable, 4,700 to 3,500, so, 1,200 votes ain't that bad. But Ed Brown defeated him. Ed Brown won. And by, a kind of a substantial margin, by a nice little comfortable margin. Ed Brown won his second term in 2017 this year by 2,600 votes, so he won bigger by like 33 points this time. So Ed Brown and Bob Schilling are going to be here until 2022. Lori Winter and Steve Noraki are out. Ray Aguilera and Larry Atencio and Chris Nickel are still left for at least 2 years until November 2019. So that's who's left. That's going to make up the backbone of the old Democratic Guard. So the old Democratic Guard is still left behind. I would say Atencio is probably the patriarch of those three. If he can get them to, back him. I think he could probably get Aguilera to back him. But Chris Nickel wants to be the mayor. He wants to be the president. They all want to be. They're ambitious. I mean, they're saying, hey, they raise their hand. Of course they all want the fucking power. And that's the reason why Big Daddy Strange is going on through. So you have no to grocery stores. Nettie Brown. Nettie Brown's going to be here to, another 4 years, till 2022. Nettie Brown is who Pueblo City sees themselves as. When they see Nettie Brown, they said, yes, that's me. I am Ed Brown. So Ed Brown is against getting a grocery store on the east side. He's against having homeless shelters. He's for expensive bathhouses. Oh, bathhouses galore. Yes to corrupt, expensive, golden, green, diamond-encrusted bathhouses. And yes to a small poster store on Union Avenue. But no, no, no for a grocery store on the east side. No, no, no for those folks. Ed Brown is such an asshole. God, he's such a prick. No, that's not true at all. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, everybody. Calm down. Ed Brown is one of the nicest people ever. And maybe that's his genius. He's super nice. He's really stealth. He stays quiet so you can't hear what he actually has to say, so you can't be against him. But he's quiet. He's stealth. He doesn't bother anybody. He's super nice. Hell, go ahead and be city council person. Maybe that's the Ed Brown genius, the genius of Ed Brown. I know that Josh Bruns was very progressive. I know that Josh Bruns was principally against the war on drugs. Josh Bruns would have been a better progressive than Ed Brown. Ed Brown might be for Portugal decriminalization, but again, like the Wi-Fi, trash incinerator, trash to electric, trash to energy programs, I don't know if he has the political will for it. If he's got the political will for anything, even his one single recycling center. Ed Brown is in favor of the street repair tax. Let's hope that, I trusted you all this time. Let's see how you all handle that tax. That's a Ray Aguilera and an Earl Wilkinson victory. So Ray Aguilera finally got the street repair tax on the ballot. It took him only, 2 years, right? But he finally got it on there. And then Earl Wilkinson. This is his baby. I think he's the one that came up with it. So Ed Brown's accessible. His number is posted on the city website. He was pro-municipal Wi-Fi, pro-trash incinerator. He'll be able to work with Mark Aliff on the trash incinerator, do what they're doing in Grand Junction. Portland's doing the plasma gasification. Grand Junction only put $3 million into their facility, and they are light years in front of everybody. They're going to be buying our trash in no time. Grand Junction's waste-to-energy plant facility is to be emulated here in Pueblo City. We should call Grand Junction up and employ the exact same program that they have. So I was pleasantly surprised about his being in favor of municipal Wi-Fi and trash incineration. I was pleasantly surprised. But again, just like the decriminalization, is he going to get us the Portugal model? Is he going to Ed Brown is going to lead the charge to decriminalize all drugs? No, that's just his opinion. That's just like his opinion, man. His will isn't going to push for that to happen. And I'm not trying to actually shit on Ed Brown. Ed Brown's a nice man. I'm attacking his policies because that's ultimately the main thing that matters is policies and whether or not you can implement those policies. So what will his policies be? It seems like he's got some progressive ideas, but it doesn't seem like he's going to push hard for anything whatsoever. He's got the recycling plant that he promised, the Sierra Club, so he better get us a cardboard and paper recycling plant. But I mentioned that as one of the bad things because that's just a promise that we're not going to get. And how do we not even have that? And it also shows this is the extent Ed Brown is going to go. This is where his political will is. He's going to get us a recycling plant, he said. Is he? Can you actually, do you believe that? Do you know that he's going to do that for you, Sierra Club? So without Josh Bruns, who's going to talk about the walkability of Pueblo City? Who's going to get solar trees and contour crafting? Who's going to get the new technology, waste-to-energy programs? Who's going to utilize these things? We're living in the 21st century. Josh Bruns would have brought us into the 21st century. Josh Bruns has an overall philosophy, so he would have brought his vision into Pueblo City, but instead we're stuck with Ed Brown. Is Ed Brown going to increase the walkability of Pueblo City? Nettie was all about QB, so he's got an unendurable love for the police. Can they do any wrong? Is he going to investigate or subpoena any? Probably not, right? The Bruns principle is to increase the walkability. That decreases the crime. The Brown principle is to just stay very, very quiet, say hi to people, and then get their vote later on because they know you. It has nothing to do with your platform. It has nothing to do with whether or not you'll be a good fucking city councilman. It has nothing to do with it. Who gives a shit about your platform? I like you. Nettie is going to be responsible for the strong mayor debacle that's coming up. So you're going to change the entire form of government illegally? So Ed Brown is very, very quiet. Even the mice are kind of like, speak up, Ed, we can't hear you. Ed Brown is very, very quiet. Very quiet. Somebody had coughed in the audience during one of his answers, and I was like, shut up. I'm trying to hear. I'm trying to listen to him. But that cough covered his answer. So, yeah, great. Mice is like, Ed, quiet down. Shit. Or Ed tells Mice to hush up. I don't know. As quiet as a mouse. He's quieter than a mouse. He's quieter than them. Mice are kind of like, good, there's nobody in here, but really, Ed Brown is standing right there. And he's been right there the whole time. Oh my God, it's Ed Brown. I saw that on some news show during a parade. Oh my God, it's Ed Brown. And he's just like, his hair is blowing in the wind, and he's just standing in isolation. And she was alone in her excitement. Oh my God, it's Ed Brown. Ed Brown's a nice man. Pueblo City is Ed Brown. Ed Brown is one of the most popular politicians around here. Bob Schilling, he's been in there for 10 years. He's going to be in there for another 14 years. So Ed Brown and Bob Schilling are very, very Pueblo. They're going to have power until 2022. They're our leaders. So we give them power. We're giving them money. But the reason why I'm disappointed with Ed Brown, because of he's not Josh Bruns. He's not a true blue progressive. He didn't vote for Jill Stein. He didn't vote for Bernie Sanders. He doesn't read Noam Chomsky. He doesn't watch Amy Goodman. He's not a Marxist. He's not an anarcho-syndicalist, progressive. I don't even know if he believes in any kind of socialistic or communistic. I bet he believes in Social Security. What about libraries and busing and, the social services? So Ed Brown is not a radical. Ed Brown is not a radical. He isn't a philosopher. He doesn't have an overall vision for Pueblo City. He's just a nice guy who was there, who was loyal. He was loyal to Steve Noraki. So how is Ed Brown going to vote now? You can't tell me how Ed Brown is going to vote now. Ed Brown is going to go along with the strongest, most dominant person in the city council. So he'll listen to Sam Azad and whoever the president will be. So I'm guessing he'll do what Dennis Flores. Dennis Flores almost seems inevitable. He's young, or he's new, but he's not young, so he's old, wise, experienced, but also new. But Atencio might, enforce his thing, and Atencio might get up there. Or Mark Aliff, and Bob Schilling. That's a unit, and all they need is one or two more voters, right? So they could be able to peel some of those off. So I think it'd be interesting to see who becomes president between those seven. They have to first vote on one of them to become president. So what, is one of them going to get 2 votes, and they're going to go along with the 2 vote? So Pueblo City is very Ed Brown and Bob Schilling. They're going to be the leaders for the next 4 years. But I'm not excited about Ed Brown. I don't think Ed Brown really represents much of anything at all. With Bruns, we had a vision for the future. Without Bruns, we just got his vision for the future, which is what? Mountains and mountains of bathhouses, lots of, goat heads, lots of crime and heroin addicts. Basically everything that we're doing now, we're going to keep the same. The last 4 years is how the next 4 years is going to be. So I am not excited about his campaign. He might be okay. He might vote in the correct pathway, but I'm not going to pay attention. I'm not going to watch him closely. I don't see any progressives here, so I see no hope for Pueblo City. And when you turn off the TV, when you turn off the media, you basically can get rid of politics. Cut out the politics and cut out the news. They don't really help you in your life anyways. So you could just turn that stuff off because they take their fucking money, they steal our taxes, and they do as the fuck as they want with our fucking money. They've been doing it the whole time, and they'll keep on doing it. So he defends the bathhouse when he shouldn't. That's evidence of corruption. Nettie Brown's vision for Pueblo City is just a recycling center. That's not much of a vision. That just seems like a promise he made up in the spur of the moment to make it seem like he does care about something. He likes Petco. He finds Petco to be very, very effective, so he's a corporatist through and through. No grocery stores, but, you know, let's give shit tons, millions of dollars. $8 million fucking dollars to the Express Scripts, and now they're gone. We don't have any place for a homeless. You think $8 million could have bought a fucking homeless shelter? So he mentioned that Petco, they modified the rules a little bit for small businesses, but mostly you can't get a grocery store, so no, he don't give a fuck about the grocery store in Eastside. He's happy with only 8 licenses, so he's not for even capitalism. He's not for socialism. He's not for capitalism. He believes in nothing. He has no overarching philosophy about anything. He's just trying to be a nice guy, and that's okay. Maybe. I don't know. He's a corporatist, so that's not okay. There's no homeless shelters. His homelessness policy sucks. So he's going to carry on the status quo. He's going to carry on the same bullshit that we've been seeing. He's in favor of Black Hills. Maybe we'll cancel the contract, or maybe we won't. So he's going to go along. Bob Schilling is Mr. Black Hills. So Bob Schilling, Ed Brown, yeah, we're not going to get away from Black Hills. He's not going to investigate the police. He's not going to subpoena the police. There is no check on the police from the legislative branch when it comes to Ed Brown's position, when it comes to his chair. Ed Brown has the power to investigate, has the power to subpoena, has the power to bring the police officer right in the middle of city council and say, so what happened? Ed Brown will never do that. Ed Brown says you actually finance the police at the top, and then the fire department is second, and then that's it, and then everybody else. So that might be the Ed Brown principle. We always take care of the police. We've always taken care of the police. 54% of our budget goes to the police, to public safety. And there's, you know what, $30, $40, $50 million being spent in the city and in the county. We got 2 sets of cops. The cops are doing okay. The cops have plenty more money. They got 24 new cops coming their way. So they got a sales tax to get themselves some more police. The cops are doing okay. I just want to make sure we have good police. And the way 3 branches of government works is that we check each branch because man is naturally evil, and the only way we can make sure he stays good is by checking him. That's how you prevent tyranny. The 3 branches of government, we have the 3 branches of government to prevent tyranny. Tom Carpenter didn't understand that. Ed Brown is the status quo. What has happened in the last 4 years is what's going to continue to happen in the next 4 years. He doesn't give a shit about the homeless. He doesn't give 2 shits about the homeless. He probably hates the homeless. He hates how they stay on the, begging for change and shit. He probably hates them. He's not a fucking Christian. So he's not going to eminent domain abandoned buildings. He's not going to do contour crafting. He's not for new technology. He has no new ideas. That's what the chieftain basically come down and said. He has no new ideas, and that worries us. But he's a safe choice, which means what? He's safe in the pocket of the Pueblo chieftain. The Pueblo chieftain can manhandle Ed Brown into what they want. Ed Brown will do what the power brokers, the 1%, the bankers, the Stephen O'Rockies, whatever they want him to do. So I don't think he has a big enough independent status to actually say he's going to push for this. I wish we could say Ed Brown will definitely get us a recycling center. I can't be sure of that, and neither can you. He defends the bathhouse. It's almost like he's just kind of there, right? And he goes on and on about the bathhouse, which he's been in there for 4 years. Why go on and on about a controversial topic? Why not just, brag about everything that Ed Brown has accomplished? But he didn't have anything that he could accomplish. 8 licenses, that's enough for marijuana businesses, just 8. That's not the free market. That's very limiting. That's regulating. He's in favor of Black Hills, probably won't cancel the contract, probably won't get us the recycling center. But the local good old boys, they got themselves a little kiss-ass sycophant that will go along with whatever the fucking projects they go along with. So it's a good win for the local good old boys establishment. He was the incumbent, so good for the incumbents, for the establishment, for the status quo. He's got no new ideas. There's heroin junkies and homelessness and crime, and we have a shitty turnout rate. Only 80% of the people, 20% of the people voted, so 80% didn't even fucking vote. But he's not going to help with getting us a better democracy. He's not going to do anything to shake anybody or anything up. He just wants to be liked. And so even if he, let's assume he gets us this recycling center. He really wants to get us a recycling center. I bet he'll have a hard fucking time to get it. He'll have to get everybody else to agree with him. So he'll have to get a coalition, and he'll have to, use his political might, use his political will. Will Ed Brown do it? Oh, you won't. You voted for him because you knew him, because you liked him. He was the status quo. You've seen him here and there. He was nice. He's a nice man. I'll give you that. He totally is a nice man. But he thought Posada and Wayside's doing enough when there's no fucking homeless shelter. There's 1,000 homeless kids. And then we have 1 out of 4 kids are in poverty. So he's not going to have a war on poverty. He's not going to attack the homelessness. He doesn't give a shit about the poor and the working class and the unions. I didn't hear anything about that whatsoever. So in terms of the 99% or the 1%, Ed Brown will continue to fight for the 1%, and if he fights at all, which, you know what, that might actually be the best defense against Ed Brown, is that he has no ideas whatsoever, so he doesn't share any initiative for the 1% or the 99%. But he will be a vote. He'll be a supporting vote, or he'll be against a vote for when it comes to, the working class versus the 1%. I think that swing vote will go to the 1% when it comes to Ed Brown. So the best defense for Ed Brown is hopefully he actually has no initiatives and he doesn't push anybody to do any of the things that he wants done. But that's very unlikely. So the other better choice is hopefully a strong progressive gets in there and says, hey, Ned, hey, Ed, you want to be friends? Come here. Let me share with you what I'm working on. And if somebody takes Ned under his wing, then that strong progressive will have a very good, loyal, person that will vote. You'll get 2 votes. He'll vote your way and he'll vote his way. So Ed Brown has no new ideas. He's not going to get us a homeless shelter. He's not going to declare war on poverty. He's not going to get any police accountability. He has no new ideas. So this is a win for the local good old boys establishment. And it also, he brings very little to the table, and he's a safe choice. That's the Pueblo chieftain. That's what his friends are saying. He's got no new ideas, but he's a safe choice. My God, he's been there for 4 years. How come they couldn't have bragged on one single thing? You couldn't brag on one single thing? Not one single thing. He didn't accomplish anything? What did he do in the last 4 years? I don't know what he did. Ed Brown, what did he do? Anyways, Ed Brown won, so good luck to you, Ed Brown. Maybe you could actually, come up with some ideas and actually push for your ideas, but they didn't vote for you to do that. They vote for you to be your quiet self, to not be overly ambitious, to only move in increments, to barely change anything, if any changes to even be made. Keep on signing those contracts, keep on signing those contractors, their paychecks, keep on divvying out all that cash and all that money to that group and this group and whatever group, the departments, the 15 departments. I know Pueblo City hadn't done shit for me since I've been here. $80 million, you haven't done, the safety, I guess in terms of safety, but barely. I don't feel safe here. Pueblo City, you haven't done shit for me. The government of Pueblo City, you got housing services? Well, I need some affordable housing. You going to help me with that? I guess I could call them tomorrow and see what happens. But, city government, I guess as long as you ain't fucking with me, then I guess that's the best I could hope for. I won't fuck with you all either. Especially since y'all don't got no fucking progressives.